Thanks for tuning in to the Ohio AgNet podcast. I'm Matt Reese. I'm the editor for Ohio's Country Journal, joined today by Joel Penorwood with Ohio AgNet. He's helping us out today. And we are very excited to talk with Warren Dick, who is a retired researcher with Ohio State University, but has a really interesting project I'm excited to learn more about called Bethel Agricultural Association Incorporated. So welcome, Warren.
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, we need to ask how everybody survived the snow this weekend and so forth. I did a bit of driving around, and the roads were not too bad out there. And there's some snow on the ground here in Fairfield County, but nothing like that stretch we had before Christmas. What's it like over in Logan County, Joel?
Oh, things were pretty interesting Sunday morning. Went off to church, worked up in the video booth at church, and while we're there, things were, not great just driving there. And so sitting in there, all of a sudden things turn into a level 1 snow emergency while we're in church. That was quite the commotion during prayer time. We heard everybody's phones go ding, 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 ding. And so that was funny. And then as we're leaving church, we had several people. Our church is sat up on a hill, and you kind of careen down into the little valley, and people careened. They took that seriously, and there's all kinds of stuff. We're situated right beside Mad River Mountain, if you've ever been over there. And so they were sure happy about the snow. I was just happy to get home. And so things were a little bit weird and slushy, but it's good to see a white January.
Yes. And what about you, Warren? Is snow all right where you are? You manage?
Yeah, we didn't. We got maybe 4 or 5 inches at the most where we are at, and it started snowing while we were in church. It wasn't when we came. Got home, and we just kind of holed up in the house and watched some football for the rest of the day. And I have to do some shoveling yet today so I can get the cars out. We have a funeral to go to later this morning, but
Well, and the snowy football game was pretty fun to watch for Ohio fans yesterday. That was pretty exciting. So, Warren, you've got a really interesting project. Again, it's the Bethel Agricultural Association Incorporated. And give us just a brief overview of how that started. And I think that kind of started with you and your history, which starts out west, right?
Right. I grew up on a farm in North Dakota. It was mostly small grains and a diversified farm, cows and pigs and chickens. And I come from a Mennonite farm family. There were 13 siblings in my family.
Good gracious, Warren.
And but my wife said my family is all a bunch of chiefs and no Indians. We're all leaders.
That's a lot with 13 leaders.
Yeah. We're diversified all over. My family's gone all over the world. But I went to college at Wheaton College in Illinois. I was a chemistry major. I was going to be a medical doctor. And between my junior and senior year, I went on a summer missions trip to South Sudan, which is one of the newer countries in the world right now. And I saw so much poverty and hunger. And I thought, I was planning to go to med school, but instead of med school, I can do more good for this world with agriculture. Nothing against medical doctors, but so I applied to graduate school at Iowa State University. I got my PhD. I was hired at Ohio State. But through all this time after being there in South Sudan, I kept thinking someday I'll go back to Africa and start a university, which was really kind of stupid when you think about it. Very naive. But so I had my career and I enjoyed it immensely. Again, I did a lot of traveling, as most agricultural academics do, it seems like. And but this idea always was kind of in the back of my mind. In 2007, I had a visitor from Ethiopia came to my office, and we started talking about things. And at the end, I just threw out this comment. I said, someday I want to go back to Africa and start a university. And he looks at the lady that he had come with from a nonprofit in Cleveland. He said, that's what we were talking about on the way to your office. Wow. And so we started talking and exchanged a few emails. And in 2010, on my own, I bought a ticket, no university funds, no church funds. Just my wife said, okay, I bless you to go to Ethiopia on a fact-finding trip. And so I was there, and it just seemed like everything was go. And then 2011 in December, a man came to my office from a company, maybe you know them, Ag Spectrum.
Mhm.
And he said, Warren, and I've done a lot, I did quite a bit of research for them. He said, Warren, I know your dream. I know you're a man of integrity. I believe what you're trying to do maybe as you go forward. And he gave me an envelope. I took it home and it was a check for $25,000.
Whoa.
And I had nothing. I couldn't even receipt them.
Wow.
But that was the start. So then we started interacting, and I developed a board, and just things developed from there.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing story, and I want to hear more about that. And there is going to be more about that, and that's going to be on the podcast, which is going to come out later today and be out on Facebook and in the digital Dale email tomorrow morning, and up at ocj.com. And in addition to that, more comments from Warren. We've got some audio with Dusty from this past week. Rachel?
Absolutely. And Dusty's got some chats with one of those is Jared Bernstein, member of the White House Council on Economic Advisors. He talks about the current state of inflation and the economy. Always something to keep an eye out, especially right now, because up and down, my goodness, it's crazy. And then also, Dusty has a conversation with Paul Shadag, Senior Vice President of Real Estate Operations for Farmers National Company. There they talk about trends they're seeing in land sales nationwide and the competition for high quality farm ground. Another thing that we're seeing way more of a focus on, especially if you're a younger farmer, and especially.
Well, I don't know about all you folks out there, but I'm really interested to hear what Warren did with this $25,000 check, and that's all going to be coming up next in the podcast.
What
So
a great teaser you had there, Matt. That's great.
I thought it was pretty clever of me. But thanks all for tuning into this Facebook Live.